Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, on the Geforce GTX 750 Ti. For FPS monitoring, this time I won't be using cam since it's not currently working with this game, and if you enjoy the content and want to support the channel directly, there are Humble and Amazon affiliate links down in the description. So Wolfenstein 2, I'll be doing 1080p, 900p and 720p. To skip to any of those sections of the video, check the description below. So far I'm kinda disappointed with the performance I got on this game. I'm not sure if it has to do with Vulkan, since I remember on Doom when I tested Vulkan versus OpenGL, Vulkan was performing considerably worse, like 5 to 10 FPS behind on the 750 Ti. Maybe it has something to do with the architecture, I'm not sure yet. But anyway, if you have a way to get better performance using the same settings, maybe something to do with a driver or a configuration file, maybe tweak a setting or two or change the API, just let me know down in the comments. So I thought maybe 720p lowest settings I'm able to get 60 frames per second. No, not a chance. When many particles show up, I can drop quite a bit below 60 frames per second, so no chance about that. So what I did was 1080p with overclock, 900p and 720p without overclock, and on 1080p I did the lowest setting with medium textures and anisotropic filtering on 16 times. After that I tested the same area, but this time using adaptive resolution on 1080p. That helped me to get some extra frames. Then when I switched to 900p and disabled the overclock, I use again the lowest settings without adaptive resolution to see how it goes. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did on 1080p and 900p. Medium textures with and without adaptive resolution to see what we can get, and I got drops as low as 30-35 FPS when there are many particles on screen, especially when fighting a big robot. And then on 720p I took a slightly different approach. I tried to get 60 frames per second, which meant the lowest settings with adaptive resolution. I wasn't there though, but I was closer than before. But when I fight with the robot, again, many particles. And then I cranked up everything to medium in order to see if we can get some better quality. And also enabled TSS ATX, so we got rid of some of the blurry edges. And so far I was able to be over 30 frames per second with that configuration. When we get to the robot, we get to 30 frames per second, that's the minimum I went. But now I'm going to talk to you about the options menu and some of the stuff about this game. When I played this game for the first time, which was live on stream using a GTX 1050 Ti, just to give you an example on how I see performance of this game, I noticed that it was running on pretty much the highest settings except in shadows at 60 frames per second. Then when I got to place it with a lot of soldiers and fighting a lot of people at the same time, I got drops to 40-45 FPS, which in my opinion wasn't that bad. But then I warned everyone that probably when we get to bigger maps there will be performance issues, and in the end I was right. I got to New York, which is a much bigger area than the previous ones we played, since at the beginning of the game we have a lot of corridors, a lot of very close spaces, and once we are in this open area, it's quite difficult to maintain a consistent frame rate. So be warned, if you're getting good performance compared to me, just test this big area and you'll see the performance hitches and all that kind of stuff. When there are many enemies on screen, for example 4 or 5 enemies, and you start killing them very fast with dual wielding assault rifles, all that kind of stuff, you start seeing drops below 60 frames per second. On the 1050 Ti, for example, that's what happened. So this should be the best place to test your settings. If you are having good performance at the beginning of the game, it should be normal since that's less demanding at this area. But overall the settings that caused me the most problems on performance were shadows. From Uber to Ultra there is a significant difference. I think it was like 5 to 10 FPS. Plus stability when fighting enemies. It was more stable with shadows below the Uber setting. And then the other ones that you should lower to get the best performance are particles, directional occlusion, reflections, volumetric quality, LOD switch, and that's pretty much it. Those settings were the quickest ones to get some extra frames, but if you want to get even better frame rates, I recommend the ones I didn't mention, except in textures, lower them in groups, so that should help you out with performance to try and tweak it the best way possible. There's also an option called deferred rendering. So far I saw performance improvement with this enabled in some sections, in some others it was like the same, so I didn't really notice much of a difference. So I recommend you play with it. You have to restart the game, but you can save anywhere, so just save in a spot where you're having performance issues. Enable deferred rendering, restart the game, load that save, and you should notice the difference right away. This changes the way the game is rendered from forward to deferred, but the game doesn't do a good job explaining what will be the difference. And then we also have a resolution scale option, which if you put it on manual is like on many games, you just have 1.0, and if you lower that it will lower the internal rendering resolution. But you also have the adaptive option, which dynamically changes the resolution scale in order to get better frame rates. And so far it's working out in some instances. In some others I don't see much of a difference, but if you want to use it I recommend you enable TSS AA anti-aliasing. That'll make it harder to notice a lower resolution, since it seems to be a very good temporal anti-aliasing solution. From TSS AA to SMAA I didn't notice much of a performance difference. If you use FXAA or turn off anti-aliasing you'll notice a difference, but from SMAA to TSS AA there was a small gap, like 1 or 2 frames, so I recommend you stick to TSS AA. It looks better in my opinion. But yeah, not much else to say. The game is running quite bad on very open areas, when there's a lot of enemies on screen, when you're fighting, when you're on corridors and all that kind of stuff, very close spaces, it runs much better, so keep that in mind while you're playing this game or tweaking the game by yourself. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
Keep moving.
William, do you read? If you are on 5th Avenue, the state building should be near.
Showed me postcards from your family in New York City. Wanted to go there. Just you and me. Hello, big boy. Come to test the old man's mettle. Ignore the pain. Ain't dead. So keep moving.
William, do you read? If you are on 5th Avenue, the state building should be near.
Showed me postcards from your family in New York City. Wanted to go there. Just you and me. land's middle. Ignore the pain. Ain't dead. So keep moving.
William, do you read? If you are on 5th Avenue, the state building should be near.
Mama, you showed me postcards from your family in New York City. Wanted to go there. Just you and me. Hello, big boy. Come to test the old man's mettle. Ignore the pain. Ain't dead. So keep moving.
William, do you read? If you are on 5th Avenue, the state building should be near.
showed me postcards from your family in New York City. Wanted to go there. Just you and me. Hello, big boy. Come to test the old man's mettle.